Here's Gene Munster, a former technology stock analyst who's now actually managing capital and investing other people's money, meaning as opposed to being an analyst who doesn't really tend to pay a penalty for being wrong or missing enormous opportunities. The guy has some skin in the game, at least from a business point of view, sharing his thoughts on Tesla.
But in the world of all things Tesla, really we need to look at the full picture here. So I'm going to start with number one, which is profitability. And that had some nice upside in the just reported March quarter. Auto gross margins ex credit on a non-GAAP basis, that is a mouthful, was 19.2%, 19.2%. The street expectation was 17.5%, and that compares to 17.9% in the previous December quarter. Now, the reason why the street was looking for down margins from December to March was because volumes are down 14% sequentially. That's normal seasonality. But in fact, they had, even though volumes were down, the automotive gross margins were up sequentially. So it was a big flex. That's why the stock was up 4% immediately when the numbers came out. Investors quickly looked at that profitability number and were saying they're doing a great job of managing the profitability. So that
certainly was a big flex from Tesla. And I also just want to take this opportunity to remind everybody that Tesla is the only company that has the ability to flex any profitability on their volume electric vehicle business, because they're the only company still today actually making money selling high volume electric vehicles. The only company.
Was number one. Number two, and somewhat related to that, the topic of CapEx. And this was, if there was a pressure point, it's probably related to CapEx. And I think the streets got this totally wrong in terms of their interpretation of what's going on. But just to play the tape back, when the earnings call started, shares were up 3.5%. And Elon's first comment, he started right out and said he wants to emphasize that we are going to be substantially increasing CapEx because that will substantially increase revenue down.
I think it's worth taking a moment here to just imagine for a moment, you're an investor, hypothetically, and you hear one of the world's greatest capital allocators, a guy with a multi-decade, multi-domain track record of getting more done with less capital than anyone else, and it's not even close. Extremely efficient capital expenditure, disrupting multiple industries, developing incredible technology. In short, getting one of the best returns on capital invested, capital spent of anyone for multiple decades. And you hear that Tesla has seen opportunity and will be aggressively increasing the amount of capital they're investing for dramatically more substantial future returns. And your reaction isn't, oh, fuck yeah, it's to panic sell the stock. Do you have to have rocks in your head?
On the road. So the stock immediately went from up 3.5% to over the next 20 minutes to up 0.25%. That just kind of that slow, steady decline. The CFO stepped in a few minutes later and gave some context to that. And so the context was that they expect more than $25 billion in CapEx for this year. Now, his previous comments last quarter were more than $20 billion. So we're seeing a $5 billion sequential annual increase, which at the face value doesn't seem like much. But if you kind of run through the numbers for the next 3 quarters, essentially the street was looking for about $5 billion per quarter in CapEx. And given what they just reported in the March quarter, which is only $2.5 billion, that implies that basically CapEx is going to step up to about a $9 billion average CapEx. Now that, of course, over the next 3 quarters, that's going to get us to something around 30 billion in total CapEx. And it's understandable that the stock traded off because it's always difficult to interpret or guess what investors' reaction is going to be to increased CapEx. There is a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to this. And I go back to what happened to Meta a few months ago when they talked about an increased CapEx. This is way back in, I think it was late October of 25. That triggered a pretty significant sell-off in the stock, even though it was absolutely the right thing for the company to do. And this is the piece that is a little bit of a mystery to me, is that most Tesla investors own this for the big picture, the long term. And as they talk about increasing CapEx to do everything from improved battery to AI training, to investing in the Terafab, to new models, to Optimus, all of these fall under the category of something that only Tesla can do. And my sense is that spending more money over what they said the next couple of years should be a good thing towards that end. And so I don't fully get it. I expect that cooler heads will prevail when it comes to the topic of CapEx, but that clearly was an important part of the conversation on Tesla earnings tonight.
I have a theory. Most of Tesla's retail investors are thinking about the long term and no doubt would have seen this increase in spending, investing in the future as Tesla seizing an opportunity or two. This is very positive. But there are still a lot of very deep-pocketed, big investors, not retail, the kind of investors who collectively, should even just a small handful of them decide to dump Tesla stock, can cause the stock to meaningfully move, especially if it's outside of regular trading hours. You only need a handful of extremely retarded, short-term, deep-pocketed Tesla investors to dump the stock, to cause the stock to move down quite a bit, almost instantly. Not that I'm suggesting that some of these deep-pocketed investors may have dumped the stock and therefore demonstrated their retardation, but I am saying that it's possible mechanically that if that occurred, then Tesla stock could have shit the bed, even though most investors will have seen this as enormously positive.
One final housekeeping point on the CapEx is that, again, more than $25 billion this year, that probably means close to 30. And because they talked about that 2-year investment phase, that there's probably going to be more than 30 in calendar 27. They will go cash flow negative over the next 3 quarters, but they've got plenty of cash to weather any of the storm. They can keep investing at that pace. So that was the second topic, was related to CapEx. We'll quicken the pace here. Third topic is related to volumes. The street, they just did 6.5% delivery growth in the March quarter. The street was looking for 4%, but they talked about some improved demand in the US and Europe. And so my sense is that there wasn't a ton there, but enough that the street will probably maintain that plus 4% delivery number for the June quarter. It steps down to minus 10 in September because that difficult ending of the tax credit comp. And then we go up to plus 8% in December. But overall, the related to volumes and I guess the outlook on deliveries is more or less, I would say, in line with where the street had been thinking. Our fourth topic on Robotaxi, I think it's important to start that there have been no incidences of any safety incidents. That's been one of Elon's focus over the past few quarters.
This is an extremely valuable data point. If there were major safety incidents, collisions, injuries, these kind of things occurring, this would be a major problem and a massive setback. We've not seen this. Tesla's still being extremely cautious in their rollout, but this is the best possible start.
Talked about being, in his words, paranoid about safety. He wanted to go slow. Yes, that is working. No incidences. The number of paid robotaxis miles was essentially doubled from December to March. Now, they don't give out that number, but they have a chart in their shareholder deck, which you can kind of interpret how much that changed. It ended just over 1 million miles, paid miles in the March quarter. Now, it sounds like a nice number, especially since it's a double over December. However, when you put it in the context of what Waymo's doing, which is just over 50 million miles in the March quarter, I think you get some sense about the gap, I guess, in kind of the scale. That's no surprise to anybody who's tracking this race. In my view, I always understood that Tesla's going to come from the back and catch up quickly as they can kind of start to scale with these more affordable robo-taxis.
So let's talk about this. Gene believes Waymo did about 50 million miles in the same quarter that Tesla doubled to 1 million miles. So Tesla now, roughly 2% of the miles traveled in a Waymo in the same quarter, having just doubled. As Gene points out, Tesla likely to go flying past Waymo as they scale rapidly. Let's just think about this mathematically. Assume, and this is an assumption, I'm just trying to illustrate a point here. Assume that Tesla was able to, quarter after quarter, every quarter, just approximately double the number of miles traveled in their robotaxis. And Waymo's fairly static. I mean, they're growing a little bit, but let's be real here. They can't scale rapidly. Tesla is going to go flying past them. So let's assume that Waymo isn't scaling, just again, to illustrate the point. If Tesla doubles next quarter, they go from 2% the miles Waymo's doing to 4. Double again, 8. Double again, 16. Again, 32. Once more, 64. And then 128. That would be, by my account, 6 doublings, and they've exceeded Waymo. 6 quarters, year and a half. Humans do not intuitively grasp exponential growth. It's worth paying attention not just to the number of miles being driven in Tesla robotaxis, but the rate of growth quarter over quarter, which is the best info we're going to get from Tesla. With enough data points, we'll be able to start looking into the future with a little bit more clarity and and see how quickly things are happening. I do want to be clear. I am not suggesting that Waymo's fleet isn't growing and the number of miles being traveled in Waymo vehicles is not increasing. It is. But the rate at which they are able to scale simply cannot match Tesla. As we can see on screen now, Tesla has just began producing their dedicated robotaxi, the Cybercab. Waymo's entire fleet, as I record this, is just a few thousand vehicles. Call it somewhere in the 2,000-ish range. I think by end of year, they're aiming for about 3,000 total vehicles. Today, Tesla, the company globally, produces significantly more than Waymo's end of 2026 entire fleet goal in a single day. Tesla's ability to scale their fleet of robotaxis is multiple orders of magnitude greater than that of Waymo. Even if Waymo wanted to scale as fast as fucking possible, they simply cannot do it. It's just a matter of time until more miles being traveled in a Tesla robotaxi than Waymo. And then 10 times as many miles, and so on. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.